This morning on The Dish, a chef whose reputation is as big as the state he calls home. Texas-based chef John Tesar was born in New York City and raised in the Hamptons. He got his start in the restaurant business as a teen, working at night and surfing all day.
He went on to work at some of the trendiest restaurants in New York and Las Vegas, earning notice for his skills in the kitchen and for his outsized personality. He eventually put down roots in Dallas and in 2014 opened Knife. The steakhouse reinvention made Esquire's list of best new restaurants of the year. And Knife is also the title of his new cookbook. Chef John Tesar, welcome to The Dish. Good morning.
Well, thank you for having me.
Tell us what we got on this great table.
Okay, so we have a tomato and watermelon salad. It's very summer. We have a pork belly in the style of Peking duck. It has some sriracha. We have our dry-aged steaks at Knife, which we specialize in. My macaroni and cheese, which we named after John McEnroe. and
Does it yell at you?
And then we have, this is a Texas phenomenon. We have avocado fries, which are tempuraed avocados.
Very cool.
And last but not least, a grilled apricot tart.
And our beverage of choice, too?
Yes.
Sweet tea, Gentleman Jack, and some peaches from Texas.
Oh, I'm going right
Cheers
to that.
on
Thank
that
you.
one.
Cheers.
Cheers. You know, so many chefs that we've had here have been influenced by their parents, a parent. Your mother influenced you in cooking?
My mother, you know, I was adopted. My parents were Czechoslovakian, but my mother, during World War II, hung out with all these Italian women. They had a sewing club. So my mother learned how to cook all of this amazing northern Italian food, and it was a great influence on me as a chef. And she was very strict disciplinarian as we were growing up. I didn't have junk food, and I didn't have soda. So I think in hindsight that helped me develop the palate that I have today as a chef. So not only the exposure, but just the eating the clean food early on in my life.
You grew up in Queens, basically, right?
I did. My grandmother had a house in a candy store in Queens. My father was a banker in Manhattan, and we had a house in the Hamptons as well.
Right. Your first job in the food industry was what? Plating lettuce and tomato for burgers?
I actually started washing dishes by hand, and then that was my promotion, was to put the lettuce and tomato
on the burgers.
It was my big promotion of the summer.
You obviously did it well.
Yeah. So how do you go from doing that to getting sort of maybe a more real job in the restaurant industry?
You know, I really was a surfer and a skateboarder, and I fell in love with the romance of the restaurant business. I worked in this small pub in West Hampton Beach, and literally at the bar, Jimmy Breslin, George Plimpton, every soap opera. You know, it was romance and excitement to me.
So the romance was the people who came in, the atmosphere?
Yeah, the conversations, you know, the social stimulation. I fell in love with that energy of the restaurant business, and luckily I had a God-given talent to cook. Otherwise, I don't know what I'd be doing right now.
You then move on, obviously, from there and train and make your way eventually to getting to Texas. How did that happen?
Well, you know, I went to France in cooking school. After the pub in West Hampton, I worked in a French restaurant. Then I went to Paris. I dropped out of school. And then I replaced Dean Ferring at the Mansion on Turtle Creek, which was an amazing opportunity and position to take. And then I married a girl from West Texas.
It's always following a girl.
See?
We always get you to come with us.
And then her family was in the cattle ranching business, so I started to learn about the animal husbandry side of it and the sourcing of Texas beef, and that's how we put together Knife. That, along with going to every steakhouse in the country.
Did that change you in some way when you got there and you started that project?
You know, I left New York after 9/11, and I'd spent some time in Lake Tahoe. I came back to work with Rick Moonen, and then a headhunter contacted me and said, "Would you like to replace Dean Ferring?" And I was like, it was like one of those moments where you take the phone and pretend you're going to like wait and give an answer. And I was like,
I've had one of
sure, I'll do that.
Yes.
But it was a competition. I had to cook off about, I guess, against 100 chefs to get the position.
Wow.
And, you know, I fell in love with that opportunity because it was a reinvention of my career, and it really changed my life to replace Dean, and we're still close friends to this day. He's an amazing guy.
How did it change your life?
It just gave me an opportunity to refocus and to be at the mansion, to get back into fine dining, to get the hotel back to 5-star status. It gave a lot of yes, and it gave me a lot of attention on my career and led to other opportunities. So.
And with the steakhouses, it's not just a steakhouse the way we think of it, is it?
You know, I was a seafood chef most of my life, but Texas is a meat and potato kind of place. So I was given the opportunity of Knife in the hotel with the caveat that I had to do a steakhouse.
Right.
So I literally went around to every steakhouse in the country to find out what they had and didn't have to try to reinvent it, because I felt that Texas needed a steakhouse like, you know, a fish needs a bicycle, so to speak. So, so I really put my head to it, and we found sourcing and, you know, it's more of a chef-driven thing. It's something you can't really articulate. You have to come and experience it because it really is about the flavor of the steak and the product and the dry aging process that we do.
Well, it is the dish. So as you are signing the dish,
yes, ma'am.
if you could have a meal with anyone, past or present, who would it be?
You know, just recently we were talking about this in the green room. I used to work with Anthony Bourdain, and he's such an icon. And we were friends at one time. We've been at odds due to magazine articles about each other and comments in books. So I'd love to share a great steak with
Anthony
him.
Bourdain might have said something outrageous about you. I can't imagine it.
Or the opposite, or the converse. But I would love to sit around and have a couple of drinks with him like we did back in the old days.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
That'd be a fun meal to actually be in on.
Yes, it would.
Chef John Tesar, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
And for more on John Tesar and the dish, you can head to our website at cbsthismorning.com.